Welcome back. My name is Apostle Salako. How do you take prayer? Today we're diving into a foundational spiritual practice, daily prayer. And we're going to look at it not just as some religious activity, but as what our source material calls a vital lifeline. Okay? So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by really unpacking that whole lifeline idea. Then we'll get into why prayer is so essential, what it actually does. After that, we'll walk through a super practical how-to guide, tackle the common roadblocks that trip everyone up, and finally explore the incredible power of just being consistent. So why kick things off with such a dramatic word, lifeline? Well, the source material frames this as a matter of spiritual survival. The big risk, it says, is that without consistent prayer, you can become spiritually dry, you feel disconnected, and you end up, pretty vulnerable. It's basically your core defense against spiritual burnout. This verse from Luke just gets right to the point, doesn't it? It frames prayer not as a suggestion, but as a total necessity. And notice that contrast. The opposite of praying isn't just being quiet. It's fainting. It's losing heart. This is all about staying spiritually strong and vital. So what are we really talking about with daily prayer? It's not about waiting for some big emotional wave to hate you before you talk to God. Nope. It's a deliberate, disciplined choice to communicate. One that's built on a committed relationship, not just on fleeting feelings. Now, this verse can sound a little intimidating, right? Pray without ceasing. Does that mean you have to be on your knees 24/7? Not at all. It's about developing this constant attitude of prayer, a mindset of communion with God that you carry with you throughout your entire day. It's an ongoing conversation. Okay, so if prayer is a lifeline, what's it actually providing? What's flowing through that line? The source material breaks it down into 4 core benefits that really show us why this practice is seen as absolutely essential. So here they are, the big 4. First, it sustains your relationship with God. I mean, any relationship without communication is going to fade, right? Second, it strengthens you against temptation. Think of it as a spiritual immune system. Third, it's how you formally invite God to step in and get involved. And finally, it's what gives you peace and clear direction when everything feels chaotic. This quote really frames prayer as a proactive move, like you're playing offense, not defense. The idea is that our spirit might be willing, but our human nature is weak. Prayer is what builds up that spiritual muscle to resist the stuff that tries to pull us off course. Alright, so we've talked a lot about the what and the why, but that's all just theory if we don't know how. So now, let's get really practical and look at a simple guide for what a daily prayer time can actually look like. This 5-step model, which is based on the Lord's Prayer, is a fantastic framework. You start with worship, just taking a moment to acknowledge who God is. Then comes submission, basically saying, your will, not mine. Step 3 is where you bring your personal request, all your needs and worries. 4 is about keeping things right between you and God through confession. And you finish up by asking for spiritual protection to face the day. And this is such a game at changing insight. A powerful prayer life isn't about having these massive 3-hour emotional sessions once in a while. It's all about the simple, steady discipline of showing up every single day. I mean, just look at this comparison. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? 20 minutes every single day builds a real habit and keeps that line of communication open. A huge 3-hour session might feel powerful in the moment, but it's way more likely to get skipped. And that's what leads back to that spiritual dryness we talked about. But let's be real for a second. Knowing you should do something and actually doing it are 2 totally different things, right? The source is very aware of this, so it takes time to address the common roadblocks that can derail even our best intentions. So let's just ask the question, because I'm guessing we've all been there. What are the things that consistently get in the way of making daily prayer a reality? And the source really narrows it down to these 4 main culprits. First, good old busyness, the lie that we just don't have time, than their spiritual laziness, where our flesh just doesn't want to do what's good for our spirit. Unconfessed sin can create this feeling of distance. And finally, there's doubt, which questions whether any of this even works. Okay, but what happens when you push past all that stuff? What's waiting on the other side of that discipline? Let's flip the script now and stop talking about the problems and start talking about the powerful results that show up when you just keep going. And it's so important to get this. This isn't just about taking a box on a spiritual checklist. No way. When you cultivate this discipline, it leads to profound life-altering outcomes that you can actually see and feel. So here it is. This is the payoff. We're talking about deeper spiritual growth and real strength. You start to develop this greater sensitivity to God's voice and guidance. You find yourself getting victory over challenges. And maybe the biggest one of all, your very character begins to change from the inside out. Man, this quote really hits home. Prayer changes you before it changes your situation. Let that sink in. So often we pray just to fix our circumstances, but the first and most important project God is working on is us. And that's really the ultimate perspective shift, isn't it? Prayer stops being a chore or some heavy burden you have to carry. Instead, it becomes this incredible privilege, a direct line to divine power, peace, and purpose that's available to you every single day. So we'll leave you with this question, and it's not a challenge, it's just an invitation. After seeing the lifeline, the benefits, the simple steps, and the incredible results, the only real question left is, are you ready for the change that kind of consistency can bring?